It's now time for our weekly Chris Long level of concern part of our segment, including your favorite, the production value.
All right, move on. Nothing to see here. Please, it's first.
Okay, there we go.
It's Chris Long's level of concern.
There we go. It's such a big start, you know. It's tough to continue the
that's
momentum,
awesome.
you know.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
It is tough.
All right, so then first up are the Buffalo Bills. Your level of concern is what?
Well, the ironic thing is I think they're a really good team, but I don't know if the mask's going to get them in now. I thought they absolutely, when you jump out to that lead, had to have that. You had to have that win. It's backbreaking. But the thing that's so tantalizing for them is they've looked like a different team offensively. Josh looked like Josh last night. That pick was tough. It wasn't as bad as maybe some of the picks he threw, like backed up against Cincinnati or that sort of thing, where he's just heaving the ball into coverage. But I thought that was as much about the Eagles making a heads-up play. But I thought those conversions, him being willing to use his legs, and the defense playing a little bit better in spots. I'm not panicked about him because it is what it is. I mean, like, you only panic about a team that we're past panic with the Bills. Now it's survival. It's not a panic thing. It's a survive thing. Survive.
Well, what do you do on a team that is frequently saying what we hear from the Bills, which is we just got to clean up the little mistakes. You know, we got to clean it up. We just got to play better. We just got to focus and play better. And for fans, you know, fans just want to hear something tangible. They don't want to hear that esoteric stuff. They want to hear like, oh, that thing can actually get fixed. And as a matter of fact, you know, swapping offensive coordinators is something a fan can hang their hat on like that. They've already done that. And you even pointed out things are better. But what do you make of that? How do you?
Well, listen, I mean, like, it's like any team. How many teams are not saying that at the end of the year? There's only been a couple of these teams that have held that trophy over the past 5-7 years. And like, Josh puts them in a position a lot of times, and sometimes he puts them in a position to lose these games, but he's the reason they're there. So, you know, like, I'm just not as, you know, McDermott's tenure has been up and down. There's been some disappointing moments, like this year alone. Like, I didn't like the calls at the end of that Broncos game, right? Why'd you heat them up? That sets up the game-winning field goal, right? I thought that there were some things that they could have done differently last night, but more than anything, they just had some injuries on defense that put them in this position. And obviously the coordinator thing, they fixed it, but it might be a little bit too late. And so, you know, for Bills fans, I know it's tough to hear that week after week, but special teams is the one thing you can control. I think they've lost a number of games on special teams this year alone. Yeah, I just mentioned the Denver game. You know, 12 men on the field, the Jets game with the punt return. Then last night, you get a field goal blocked, and albeit a bad call set that up before the half. And in the second half, you come out and you miss another field goal. So they're little things, but they are the difference in the game. And it's James Cook dropping a ball. If James Cook catches that ball, I don't even think we're talking about this game in the same way. It's what's the panic meter on the Eagles, as we inevitably would. I think it's making those plays that are there to make. And I don't know what to tell Bills fans. I mean, it might be a next year thing, but as long as you have Josh Allen and a coordinator that can actually get the most out of him, I feel like you're going to be in the conversation every year. This is not a everybody gets one thing, dude. You know, it's like not every fan base is going to get to cash in on this awesome window, whether it's Cincinnati or whether it's Josh Allen or whether it's the Ravens with Lamar. Like, most of these guys are going to be sitting up there at the end of their tenures and saying, hey, why didn't we get a ring out of this? So I'm not going to pick on them necessarily, but I do think they've put themselves in a spot where they can't lose anymore.
Your level of concern, Chris Long, for the Detroit Lions.
Hi.
Really?
Yeah, I am. And like, I love the Lions. Not that we talk game about, first thing I did this offseason, put the Lions over win total, hammered it. Okay. So love the Lions, big fan of Dan Campbell, love Jared Goff's story, but I've been saying this for a month now because they haven't played good football in a month. I mean, you're thinking, oh, what about the Chargers game? Yeah, it's not a complete game. You let that team that scored 10 points last night at home go up and down the field. It was like a Big 12 track meet from days of Mike Leach. And, you had to get a stop to win, and you never really got that turnover. And again, the same thing in a lot of these games defensively. They haven't had a bunch of sacks the past month or two of the season. They're not very talented outside of a couple guys defensively. I'm not saying they're a bad group of players. They just have to have more blue chip guys if they want to play like this. And the main issue is, and we saw this and we've seen it, whether it was red zone, bad pick for Goff against Vegas, or, you know, all the turnovers against Chicago, or this week, which was really concerning, which is an in-division team, right? And it's Jordan Love, who, if he wins this job, he's not going anywhere. This was not fluky, that you just got beat, you know what I mean? And this team's not going anywhere in the division. So on a macro level, I'm concerned, you know, more than I was before, because you thought, hey, they got this thing on lock. Like, Chicago might ship Justin Fields. Green Bay doesn't know who their quarterback is. Kirk Cousins is hurt. But on an in-season level, they can't lose any more games if they want to make a run, because they have to play at home. And that pass rush from Green Bay got after him. I really love Rashawn Gary. It was great for him to have that game on Thanksgiving, but Jared Goff off the spot is a concern. And so if you're going to go outside, and this is the best way I can put it, you watch that game, right? And you think about where they're trying to go. And then you sit in your chair and you watch the other two games the rest of Thanksgiving. Dallas has defensive ends who run down on punt. Okay? They've got Micah Parsons. They've got DeMarcus Lawrence. They will tear you apart. And it's the same thing with the Niners. So all you had to do there, if you're a Lions fan, is you lose that first game, you look at the way you look against pressure and guys who can get after you. And if that offensive line doesn't have it, isn't good, then what's your identity, right? You couldn't protect Jared Goff. He's not great off the spot. Look at where you're going to have to go to win a Super Bowl. You know, you're going to have to go to San Francisco if you play like this the rest of the season. You're going to have to go to Dallas. You're going to have to go to Philly. Don't love the chances. Not with what I've seen the last month.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.